Thank you guys for popping on. I actually didn't press the live button yet, but it seems to be live. I, first of all, do not have pink eye. I popped a blood vessel, so I apologize for looking a little bit creepy. Hope you guys are all well. I've never actually pressed that star button. I pressed that by accident, so hopefully this works. Hope you guys all had a super Christmas, an amazing New Year's, and again, I apologize for my funny eye. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I will do the normal. I'll go over the real estate updates. I will answer your guys' questions and do happy news, okay? All right. Again, hope you guys are well and disregard my eye. So the first question comes from Jesse, and Jesse is in Midhurst. So Jesse in Midhurst said, how much really does school district play into the value of a home? I like a home, but it does not fall in the catchment of a favorable school. Coming from somewhere with really good ratings, I'm a bit concerned. Thank you, Jesse, for asking. That is, a very valid point. To be honest, more people do look at the homes than the areas. There's the odd person that looks at the area of the schools, and it's not as many as look at the home. So a lot more look at the home, so I think you're safe with the home. Sometimes we have people, they have to stay in a certain school district because of an X or something, and they have to be, within certain boundaries, Livingston to here or whatever. So I would say you're okay. Obviously, if there's like 5 schools around that all have really bad ratings, I wouldn't really go there, but I think there's only the odd one here and there that doesn't. So you are probably fine. But if you want to send me the address or the school, I'd be more than happy to show you what's gone on around that neighborhood just so you can see what the actual value is. But thank you for asking. So the first thing of happy news comes from basically what would you do if somebody knocked on your door? So there was a family in BC, and basically people said, hey, can I borrow your shovel? Turns out there was obviously that big blizzard there right around the holidays. So they didn't give them the shovel. They let them all come in. There was 10 people. They were from Korea, and they were driving basically from Niagara Falls to Washington, D.C., and they got caught in the blizzard. So they, I can hear my dog, drinking out of the toilet. He's not supposed to be doing that. So they let him in, let them into the house, and they stayed over for 2 nights and cooked for them and stuff. So I just like happy people, kind people, etc. I like that. Next question comes from Grace, and Grace is in Barrie. Grace said, is a rooming house the same as a short-term rental? Thank you, Grace, for asking. So no, it's not. So a short-term rental could be, for example, this house right here. You could rent it out, just means somebody comes for a night, 2 nights, 5 nights, a week and a half, etc. Basically, it just means they're not, on a month-to-month lease or on a yearly lease. So that is a short-term rental, whereas a rooming house is typically, you share the living room and then you have your own bedroom and so forth, and that's more of a rooming house. You might pay $600 a month or $750 or whatever like that, but you're not just staying there for a night. You're staying there for like a whole school season, a whole school year, etc. So thank you for asking. So the next thing before we get to real estate is basically just I jump around a bit. It was an outpour of generosity to a 24-year-old. And that 24-year-old was named, or is named, Damar Hamlin, and he plays for the Buffalo Bills. I don't know sports at all, but I guess he had a cardiac arrest and collapsed on the field on Monday. So he had started a charity 2 years ago, and the charity is for basically back-to-school supplies for kids, for toys, etc. And what he said when he opened this charity 2 years ago, he said, I will, as I embark on my journey to the NFL, I will never forget where I come from, and I am committed to using my platform to positively impact the community that raised me. So again, he collapsed on the field on Monday, and within 24 hours, he had almost $5 million, US million dollars, in the account for his charity. So I love that. There was 160,000 people that donated money. 10,000 was from Tom Brady, and then the other people, obviously different increments, etc. So I just like nice things like that. And then one more question before we get into real estate. So Jacqueline and Jay, they're from Guildford. Again, apologize if you just jumped on about my eye. It is not contagious. So Jacqueline and Jay from Guildford said, we have a cottage in Halliburton and understand prices are going down. Should we sell and get money out while we can and then buy in when they're cheaper? Thank you, Jacqueline and Jay, for asking. So the only problem with that is, and I totally get what you're saying, the only problem with that is let's just say when you purchased the cottage before, obviously I'd assume it was cheaper, and now let's just say maybe the current one, obviously the price is higher than when you bought, and then because the interest rates are higher, and then you have to approve at that 2% higher, maybe you can't approve. Even if the price is cheaper, maybe you can't approve. So I would just be leery of that. So maybe if you talk with your mortgage broker and say, hey, what would I be approved for? And you could say, if I sold the cottage for X, because you could have a realtor up there or myself or whoever send you comparables, and you say, okay, I know it's worth 900 or 1.5 or 600 or whatever it's worth. So you have an approximate, and then you can let the mortgage broker know, hey, this is how much I have. What will I be approved for, kind of thing. So you could see that, just because it is a bit leery, if then you might not be able to get back in, because again, maybe the prices were cheaper when you bought, and then the interest rates obviously were cheaper and so forth. So maybe you aren't able to get back in, and then you might be upset that you let your cottage go. So I would just look into that, okay? And then one more thing is, gas is always so expensive. There, it was a lovely, nice fellow, and he was down in Phoenix, and basically he said that people don't have money right now, and he wants to help out. So he was selling gas for 50 cents less than he was buying it for I think it was in the, not I think it was, I know it was in the States. I don't know what they do it by the liter or something different than we do. And 50 cents less. And he said he didn't care that his wife and him were working all the time and losing money. He just said his parents taught him that it is important to give back if you have something to give back. And this wasn't the seller's first time at doing this. He also, in 2008, did it as well, when everything, obviously, you know, housing-wise in the States was going on. So, super nice and kind man. Hi, Tiffany, how are you? Look at my red eye. I have a pop blood vessel. I look funny. Disregard my eye, Tiff. I hope you are well. Hi, Jason. Hi, Sam. Thank you guys for popping in. Hi, Christy. Okay, so getting into real estate. I know I jump around a lot. So getting into real estate, and I was late this evening. Sorry, I was listing a waterfront property. There's always a time to list a property, and waterfronts still list in January. So there you go. That'll be up, I think, next week. So the main question that we've been getting is, how much is the market going to go down in 2023? So it has already come down significantly, but people are like, how much is it going to go down? How much more? Unfortunately, we don't know the answer. We don't know what Bank of Canada is going to do. January 25th is the next possible day that they could put it up. So they might do nothing that day. They might put it up 0.25. They might put it up 0.5. They might bring it down. We don't know. So in March in all of Ontario, not just Toronto, the average sales price was 1.08, which is crazy in all of Ontario. And this was 64% higher than it was just 2 years ago, so before the pandemic. And since then, prices have fallen about 20% in Ontario. But this still takes us to about the levels of September 2021. So it's still, you know, in the pandemic and stuff. So it's not like pre-pandemic prices, okay? Which were still great and always climbing every year. So again, people keep asking how much lower it will go. Again, we don't know. But I'll say throughout this different things that economists have said, okay? So the number of something that is down is the number of homes sold. So the number of homes sold is the lowest that it's actually been since the mid-90s. So that was last month. So not a lot of homes are selling. And overall, real estate analysis and economists and stuff are saying that prices will continue to fall, but not much farther than they have already fallen. So some people are saying just until about the second part of 2023 is when they will stop falling. And again, they all say different, but I'll go through that throughout the thing. Hi, Rob. How are you? Or maybe Adria. I don't know. Rob, look at my creepy eye. Disregard it. But I was having you to look at it so you don't think I'm a weirdo. I have a broken blood vessel in my eye. So there's a TD economist. And the TD economist said that they will decline until basically early 2023. And then they'll go stagnant. And then the end of, like, they won't drop anymore by the end of 2023. And that same economist, which is Rishi Sondhi, said that the bulk of the correction is behind us, not in front of us, okay? There was another economist who works at Desjardins, and they said it's unknown when prices will stop dropping. However, they said the biggest factor is the Bank of Canada and those 7 interest hikes that they did last year. So we can't really say anything till we know what the Bank of Canada is doing this year. So that is from Desjardins. That same fellow also said, though, that the employment levels are strong and immigration is strong, which is obviously, a contributing part to the real estate game. Another thing is supply and listings. So we really don't have a lot of supply or listings. Rob or Adria, say who is here. So we really don't have any listings, okay? So a lot of sellers are saying, hey, I want the crazy price from before I saw, and my neighbor's house was junkier than mine, and they sold way more, but it was like February of 2022 or something like that. So some people are saying, I'm not selling unless I get that price. Other people are saying, I'll list it, but only if I get that high price. And then some investors are just selling because they can't afford the interest rates, etc. So they are forced to sell. But we just don't have as many listings as we normally would this time of year. Something else we've also seen is a lot of delays and some even cancellations in new builds. So a lot of the builders are like, hey, it costs more for the contractor. It costs more for the drywall, for the screws, for the whatever, the flooring. So they're saying what we're making is not either going to be there, or we think we're going to even lose money to finish the project. So a lot of builds are delaying or even canceling. So that is something else that we're seeing a lot of. One builder said we're in a very different environment. Demand has cooled off, prices have come down, and interest rates are higher. So this one person was canceling their next development and refunding everybody their deposit. So what else is forecasted for 2023 is high rents and low inventory. Okay, so low inventory as in not a lot of listings. And then obviously we know what high rent is. So there was one economist and he described the market as even Steven. So basically he said it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, kind of balanced. He said, yes, prices are the lowest they've been in quite a while, but because the interest rates are high, you're not really going to notice it on your monthly payment. So it doesn't seem like anything. That's why he said even Steven. Okay. And as we have higher interest rates, obviously less people can qualify, because let's just say the rate's 5.45, they have to qualify at 7.45. So that is hard, obviously, for a lot of people to do. So not the actual price of the home selling, but the number of homes selling. Since June, this has been the lowest they've been in more than a decade. Lowest number of sales, I should say. So again, not the prices, but the number of homes actually selling. Okay. Oh, hi, Adria. How are you? And my funny eye, you can see it later. So Toronto prices have fallen 18% since March's peak. And again, that's still up, obviously, largely before the pandemic, and even in the fall of the pandemic, we're about at that point. And it is still expected to fall a bit more, but they said it's more incremental, basically meaning smaller percentages that it's going to drop. Okay, so they're saying that we've seen the biggest part of it, and then it's just going to be more incremental for a little bit into 2023, and then stabilize the end of 2023. All the economists are saying different things. So one economist, for example, is saying that the GTA is going to fall 11%, basically taking us to 2021 prices. Then that same study said that the north prices are going to fall further, because as people were moving, say 6 hours away, 7 hours away, etc., working from home, now they don't want to work from home, they want to come back to the city. They're saying that those places, that had 8 offers on some house that went 200,000 over asking, that those people are going to have more of a correction. And then there was another study, again, because they're all over the place, they say different things. So one study said that Barrie, Kitchener, Waterloo was going to go down 15%. Another one said it's only going to go down 8%. One study said Ottawa was going to go down 2 to 7%. Another study said it was going to go up 5%. So it's really all over the map. It really just depends which article or which economist you believe. CMHC is forecasting our slowdown till the second quarter of 2023, which is what majority of people are saying. So a lot of people just sitting on the sidelines for whether it's the interest rate or, for example, Doug Ford. So Doug Ford said, hey, we can build 1.5 million homes, brand new homes for people to help with the supply issue. But a lot of people are wondering, will he actually follow through with that? And something that he's been, using, saying the supply chain basically is he's building on the environmentally protected, the green belts, etc. And he's putting lower development fees, as well as, conservation authorities. Oh, you normally can't build on this or whatever. He's letting people build on it. So people are like, hey, is he going to let all these people do stuff and then still fall short on his, promise of 1.5 million? Or is he actually going to follow through with that? So some people are just waiting on the sidelines for that. There is a fellow named Kevin Krieger, and Kevin Krieger is the president of TREB, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. And he thinks that 2023, there'll be lots of new people coming in the market, people that couldn't afford before. And he thinks a lot of people are going to be switching their housing situation. So maybe they're like, hey, I'm splitting up from you, or hey, I want a bigger home, or hey, I want a smaller home because interest rates are going up and I don't want to possibly have this bigger mortgage. So let's go to something more manageable in case one of us loses our job or something like that. So that is what they are thinking, or Kevin is thinking, I should say. And obviously for the higher interest rates that I mentioned before. So basically investors need more money to cover their costs, right? Because their mortgage payments have gone up, etc. So they need more to cover their costs. So that is one of the main factors for that. So things that we should expect in 2023. So for buyers is less competition. So very rarely will you be against other people. There's more, not saying more to choose from. There's just more to choose from because there's not as many people buying, right? We're going to have reduced prices, and we're going to have increase in choices, just because they're not being snatched up the second they're being listed. They're staying on the market longer, so in that way you have more to choose from because they don't just fly off the shelf as soon as they come on the shelf, so to speak. And for sellers, there's a lot of trade up advantage. So basically going to a bigger home, etc., and taking that equity out, obviously assuming that they didn't just buy in spring of 2022, etc. Maybe they bought 2015 or 2012 or 2010 or something like that. There's also less competition, so they're not against as many listings. So say they only have a one-car garage and somebody offers and they sign back really high, and the people are like, yeah, but you don't have a two-car garage. And you're like, okay, we'll go find one in this neighborhood, but there isn't one because there's not a lot of listings, so you don't have that competition. And also a lot of them are relocating to the suburbs, just taking advantage of maybe cheaper taxes, etc. And again, getting into different mortgages, etc. with the, say when their mortgage renews or something like that. So December stats are not out yet, but as soon as they are, I will let you guys know. So this is November, okay? So November in the GTA, the average sales price was $1,079,000, and that was down 7.2% from 2021. And if you break that into detached homes versus condos, the condos average 708 and the detached homes average 1.39. Again, that was in the GTA. So economists are guessing, again, you heard me say like one guess 11%, one guess is this, whatever. So this economist was saying that the GTA is going to be down 12%, which is about 142,000. But then there was another economist right after that said only 2%. So it just really depends. Are you listening to the 2% person? Are you listening to the 11% person? Are you listening to the 12% person? Who are you listening to of how much is going to go down and who's going to be right in the end? There was a chief operating officer, Karen Yukasleski, probably saying that wrong. She said the bulk of the correction has already occurred and normal trends are on the market. Normal trends of the market are on the horizon. So that is what she has said. Thank you guys for popping on. And again, I apologize for my eye. I have a bursted blood vessel. Once the prices start to go up, who's going to see the prices go up first? And it's guessed to be the condos, okay? So condos, the reason they think condos are going to go up first in pricing is because it's obviously the cheapest to get into condos, not counting mobile homes, but the cheapest to get in, so then there's going to be more competition because not everybody can afford, obviously, $2 million homes, etc. So the cheaper the price point, the more buyers are in that buying pool, as well as investors, etc. Single family, people divorced, etc. And just first-time buyers or even downsizers. So there's going to be more competition, so they will tend to see the prices go up first, okay? So what will definitely go up again is rent, which I mentioned a bit before. So Toronto actually has the second highest rent in Canada. Obviously, Vancouver is the first. So for a one bedroom in Toronto now, it is $2,551, which is up over 22% from last year. And a two bedroom is now $3,363, which is also up over 20%, 21.5% to be exact. So less people can buy right now. Again, like I said, the investors need more money to break even, but a lot of people are saying, hey, I want to sit and wait and see what happens to the interest rate. So then there's more people that even, are renters that maybe have been owning for years. So that is the main reason. And then also, like I was mentioning about some new builds being canceled because they're not making money or they don't think they're going to make money, etc. So those people that thought they were going to be in that new build condo or what have you, now they're here. So there's a lot of people trying to get into the rental game. So hence the landlords have jacked up the prices. So when we look at Canada as a whole, so 38.9% less homes sold in November of 2022 versus 2021, which is crazy, almost 40%. But if we just look November 2022 versus October 2022, it was only down 3.3%, okay? So that is that. So many economists think that this is going to be the first spring we've seen in a long time where buyers don't have to be against all these people. Again, normally you're like condition free, high deposits, crazy prices, etc. But now economists are saying, hey, you probably won't have to be a bidding war. Maybe 1 in 20 will be a bidding war. You can go under asking. You can put finance. You can put inspection. You might even put the sale of your house, etc. So it's just going to be a different spring than we've experienced in quite some time. I don't even remember the last time that was a spring, to be honest, probably when I first got in the business. So the Bank of Canada is thought to be near its top of its pricing and basically interest rates, but who is really the judge of that? I don't know, because obviously it's said differently everywhere, but we will see the next one January 25th. So the main thing right now is there's just not a lot of listings coming out, right? Because some people are sitting and waiting, like I said. So we have the lowest number of listings right now in the last 17 years in Canada, which is crazy. 17 years is a long time. However, obviously before we had the super sellers market, now almost 70%, like just shy of 70%, I forget, 69.2% or whatever, is at a balanced market. So even though everybody thinks, oh my goodness, it's a, did I just say buyer's market? Stable balanced. I think I said balanced market. So just shy of 70% again are balanced market. So a lot of people think, oh my God, it's a buyer's market right now and blah, blah, blah. It's not actually a buyer's market. It's just because we were in a seller's market before. So now it's adjusted. So it seems so crazy, but it's really not. It's just into a balanced market. Again, almost 70% of Canadian real estate boards are in a balanced market right now. Sorry, I'm just seeing some other messages come in, so I'm trying not to read those. Okay, so although majority of Canada is down in pricing, specifically, I was going to say Barrie, specifically BC and Ontario, there's actually places that have gone up and barely even teetered off the highest of high of March, and that is Calgary, Regina, and Saskatoon. They're staying really close because a lot of people are, not say fleeing, but leaving BC and Ontario to go to cheaper provinces, etc., and territories to live because it is so expensive to live in Ontario and BC. So the average sales price in Canada in November was just over 630,000, 632,000 to be exact. But when we take out Toronto and Vancouver of that equation, it brings it down to 509. Okay, so average sales price 509 in Canada in November. Okay. And yeah, like I said, it was 123,000 less if we took out Vancouver and Toronto. And that's down 12% from 2021. Next question comes from John, and John is in Stroud. So John in Stroud said, I have signed a contract to buy a new build, but the builder has given me the option to back out. Do you think I should? Josh, I would see basically what that home is worth. So for example, I think it was last week or the week before, I spoke about a subdivision in Brampton. And people had paid like 1.2 for the home, 1.4 for the home, etc. But they were being appraised. Let's just say the one that was 1.4 got appraised at 1.1. So if somebody's letting you out of that deal and, you know, the house is worth 300,000 less than you paid, I would take it all day. But if, for example, it's still around that price, because obviously I don't know when you bought it. I don't know if you bought it a month ago. I don't know if you bought it 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 1 year ago, etc. I don't know when you bought it, so that kind of depends. I would just do your market research first to see what the actual value of it is now compared to what you paid, because then that will answer your question, because it doesn't make sense to back out of something that you've made money on or that's at its current value, especially if you locked in, you know, to a mortgage, etc. before when the interest rates were lower. But if they let you out of a deal and it's worth, you know, 2, 3, 400, 500,000 less now, I would get out of it all day if you have the option, because that's what all those people want to do in Brampton, and they're not giving them that option. So thank you for asking. Next thing is, it's happy news. Not happy news in the sense that it was a murder, but happy news in the sense that it was happy in the end. So there was two fellows, and back in the 90s, 96, they were convicted of murder. They were playing this game called Russian roulette or something, which I had to Google because I've never heard of it. And supposedly they take a revolver, they put one bullet in, they spin it, and so there's like 5 blanks and one that shoots or whatever, and then you put it towards your head. Don't ask me. Anyways, the one child or kid or whatever you want to call him, teenager, passed away, and the two were convicted of murder. Don't ask me again why. But anyways, there was this podcast last year that started to interview people back from the 90s, and they ended up letting the two people go, saying that it was false information and people coerced into it and stuff. So I like happy news. Again, not happy that they were in jail for 25 years, but happy that they got out after being wrongly convicted. So I like that. The next question comes from Katie, and Katie's in Wasaga Beach. So Katie said, what grants are there currently available for first-time buyers? Thank you, Katie, for asking. So to be honest, there's different ones, but not say the problem, but an issue with them is that they obviously want a piece of the pie. So they'll say, hey, we'll top up your down payment and give you more. So, you know, let's just say you have 10% down now instead of 5, or you have 20% down instead of 10, etc. But then they're not just going to give it to you for free. They want it part of your house. So let's just say you don't move for 20 years and you put in a pool, you finish the basement, you reface the cupboards, you put in a new countertop, etc. They're getting the percentage of the house that has gone up in value, but they didn't do any of those things. So I personally don't like them for that reason. But you have to weigh all of your, pros and cons to that, because some people think it's worth it for their monthly payment to be lower, etc. But totally up to you. I can't really answer that. But that is the only one that I know of, to be honest. But it does change all the time. I would ask with your mortgage broker, because they're ones that deal with it more often than we do, okay? But thank you for asking. So I don't know if you guys try new things a lot. There was a girl, she was 34 in England, and basically during COVID, she was quite depressed. And she decided in December of 2021, she said, I'm going to basically do something new every day for 100 days. And then after 100 days, she really liked it. So she's like, I'm going to do a whole year. So now it's been just over a year and she hasn't stopped. And she tracks it all on Instagram and shows it all. You know, one day she might try skateboarding. One day she might be like a beehive person, you know, go bungee jumping, etc. But every single day she does something new. So I just thought that was cute. And also she got off of her anxiety medication and her depression medication because now she's so upbeat and loving life. So I like that. Next question is from Raquel, and Raquel is in Barrie. So Raquel in Barrie said or asked, I'm going to list my home. We have slept in a king bed since we were married, but truly our room doesn't fit it. Should we swap it out for a queen bed to sell? Hi Raquel, I don't know. Thank you for asking. I don't know, for example, if it's pushed right against the wall, so two of the sides are touching the wall. If it was that case, I would definitely swap it out for a queen. I also don't know how or how many other bedrooms you have. I don't know if it's 4 bedrooms and they're all kind of tiny, or if there's only 2 bedrooms and it's tiny, etc. But I would say, without seeing it or knowing, you know, the layout of your house, etc., I would switch it out for a queen. But again, you could ask your realtor, etc. Just because I haven't, again, seen the layout, I don't know, again, 2 or 4 bedrooms, etc. But without knowing any of that, I would say to swap it for a queen if it is really tight in there, because you don't want people to think that's why you're moving and so forth, and they think, oh, we're gonna have to move too, so let's just not move here in the first place. You don't want to give people reasons not to buy your house, right? So thank you for asking. Next thing is people that were stranded in Buffalo. So as a lot of you know, they got about 50 inches, which is just over 4 feet. And unfortunately, 39 people passed away. And one fellow basically went to a school. He broke a window. And I don't know why, but there was a snowblower. And so he started to like snowblow around, and he invited other people to come in. So he invited 24 people to come in that he found in the area, and 2 dogs. And there was kids there, and they slept there. The kids played in the gymnasium, etc. They watched football. I guess there was a big football game, I don't know, on Christmas. And used the washrooms, etc. And then when they left, they cleaned it all, and they left a note saying sorry for breaking the window, etc. But I like, instead of just somebody looking out for themselves and like, oh, I'm going to save myself and not freeze to death, you know, he went out and purposely was like looking in cars to see if people had enough gas, if they wanted to come inside. He found granola bars in there, etc. And they replaced all of that as well. But I just like when people help people, of course. So anyways, that's it from me. I hope you guys all stay well. Have a beautiful evening. Like I said, help one another, love one another, spread love, do whatever you can to just help those around you, and have a magnificent rest of your week. Thank you guys for popping in. Take care.